What's up, guys? Bradley Overrated, and today we'll be talking about the N64 Classic and the rumors that are speculating around it. Now, a lot of people are already reporting that it is the next thing to be coming out, and some people are even saying that it is going to be a thing that is announced at E3. And whether or not it's announced at E3, can I just say I loved the N64. Growing up, that was an awesome console. Okay, so was the NES and the SNES and the PlayStation and the Sega Genesis. Man, I got spoiled as a kid. Thank you, Mom and Dad. But the N64, man, that had so many great titles to it. So for this video, I kind of want to go over what I think is going to happen for the N64 Classic when it inevitably gets released, because the other two classic editions, the SNES and the NES, both sold really well, and I don't see any reason for a Nintendo to not release it. And I kind of want to give, it's kind of predictions about what games I think are going to be on there, but also give some possibilities that could replace some of my predictions. And real quick, let's first talk about how many games are going to be on the N64 Classic. And honestly, guys, when you consider that the NES only had about 30, the SNES had 21, I think there's only going to be around 15 titles for the N64 Classic, which is heartbreaking. I hope I'm wrong. I really do hope I am just completely wrong about this, that they bring a really good amount, 20 plus games, but I think there's only going to be 15 for it, and that's a tough one, trying to put only 15 games on this. But let's do it. Let's jump into what the first game is, and it's kind of obvious. It's Super Mario 64. Do I really have to explain why this is going to be on the N64 Classic? It's the game that made the N64 special, so yeah, it's going to be on there. And then the next game, obviously, that will be on there will be The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. I mean, come on. Super Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time were the two quintessential games. Everybody had these two in their homes back in the day. If you didn't have these games, there was something terribly wrong with you. And let's follow up The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time with the other Zelda game that came out on the N64, which is The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. It seems like an obvious choice. I think it'll be on there, but there is a small chance that it won't be, and here's why. When Nintendo released the SNES Classic Edition, they gave us Donkey Kong Country, but for whatever reason, omitted Donkey Kong Country 2 and 3. I guess they felt they didn't need to overwhelm the fans of the classic games with two awesome platformers. I don't get it. I don't know what was going through their heads. But with that logic in mind, I can see them not including Majora's Mask. But if they do that, I will be pissed. It is a great game. It needs to be on there, okay? So please don't do that, Nintendo. And then the next game is an obvious choice as well. It's Yoshi's Story. It's charming. It's delightful. It's Toad's Precious Orbs. Okay, I hate myself for saying that now. Wow. Yeah. Anyways, it is a really fun game. It's a Nintendo IP. It's an obvious choice. As a matter of fact, most of my predictions, if not all of them, will most likely be Nintendo IPs, just because they had so many of them on the N64. And following Yoshi's Story, we get Kirby 64, The Crystal Shards. Fantastic game. I love this game. If you've never played a Kirby game before and you ever have the chance to try this one, I recommend you try this one because it's really fun. And old-fashioned now. It makes me feel old. That game came out a long time ago. Oh, wow, almost 2 decades ago? Yeah. Feeling old. The next game up is Star Fox 64. It's going to happen. If this game doesn't end up on the N64 Classic, there will be riots in the street. This is the last really amazing Star Fox game that ever came out. No offense to all of you Star Fox Adventure fans out there, that game's just not, it's not that great. I'm sorry. But Star Fox 64, it has to be on the N64 Classic. It's not a complete, it'll be there. It'll be there. That's all. Then the next game will have to be, of course, Super Smash Bros., the definitive fighting game for Nintendo. It is the original that only had 12 characters, and it was amazing. And surprisingly enough, is still fun to play to this day. If you never had a chance to try the original Super Smash Bros., it's worth a try just to see how far they've come from the original one, because it plays so differently to Melee and all the other ones. But it's a great game. I loved it, and Jigglypuff for the win. Alright, Jigglypuff for the win. Now, these next few games are what I call the Mario spin-off games, and that's because they are exactly that. They are Mario spin-off games, and the first one being Mario Kart 64. An obvious choice in Super Mario Kart was on the SNES Classic, but then you have Mario branching out even further with Mario Party 2. Mario Party 2 is awesome. It doesn't have the rotate your joystick and kill yourself type of gameplay. They revised a bunch of the mini games from the original. It's an excellent addition. I will bet money that it would end up on the N64 Classic because it's something really different. Then you have the sports ones of Mario that came out. You have Mario Tennis for the N64. That's a fun game. And then you also have Mario Golf for the N64, and that's an amazing game. To this day, that is the best golf game I have ever played. So help me. I love Mario Golf, and it needs to be on the N64 Classic because it is really good. Now, the next games are also kind of sport/racing games, and 1080 Snowboarding was an N64 exclusive that was awesome. It was very easy to play, it was difficult to master, and everyone loved it. The interesting thing about it is it actually got a sequel on the GameCube, and nobody touched it because nobody really cared for it. And to follow up 1080 Snowboarding, we have an almost identical game in terms of follow-ups, and that's Wave Race 64, which was a phenomenal game that got a sequel on the GameCube that nobody touched. So both of these games can easily be on the N64 Classic. They're both unique, they're fun, they're original. I want them. I think a lot of other people do. Please make it happen, Nintendo. Now, the last two games that I think will be on the N64 Classic are Donkey Kong 64. Obviously, it's a really fun game. It's a challenging platformer / collectathon. And then the last game will be Paper Mario, which is a Mario spin-off, but it is so much more than that. It is a spiritual successor to Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. That is a mouthful. And this game was awesome. It has an awesome combat system, an awesome and charming story. It is a fantastic game, and if you haven't had a chance to play the original Paper Mario, when it comes out on the N64 Classic, and it will, this is your chance. Now, those are my 15 games that I think will most likely be on the N64 Classic, but there are 5 other games that I think have a small chance that I'm going to talk about them. The first one is Pokemon Stadium. It was a Pokemon spin-off game, obviously. It was fun. It was stupid fun. And then the next one is even more stupid fun, which is Pokemon Snap. Now, I get it. I don't see it happening on the N64 Classic because I think Nintendo thinks this game is stupid. But Nintendo was wrong, okay? This game was a pinnacle of perfection. It was a masterpiece. There was nothing more satisfying than going on a cart and taking pictures. It's basically a rail shooter where you take pictures of Pokemon, and it's fantastic, baby. 10 out of 10. Please make this happen, Nintendo. I love this game. It was so amazing and so dumb, but just, it was the best. And then, this is my favorite racing game of all time. It probably won't make it just due to the fact that I don't know if it would be allowed because Microsoft owns a bunch of these characters now, but Diddy Kong Racing would be amazing. I loved this game from head to toe. It was just the best. But like I said, DD is Nintendo, and Banjo is now Microsoft, and Conker is now Microsoft, and Tip Top is now Microsoft, and I don't know how all of that would play into the how it would work, but I'm hopeful. And then F-Zero for the N64, Nintendo just doesn't love F-Zero. They clearly don't care anymore. Despite the fact that fans have been waiting for a sequel for I don't know how long, over a decade I believe. So to put this one on the N64 Classic, I don't see it happening. And then the last game is Bomberman 64. I want it. I need it. I don't think it's going to happen, but I love Bomberman 64. It was... There's so many good games on the N64, who am I kidding? But this is one of the best Bomberman games, if not the best Bomberman game I've ever played. Alright guys, that wraps up my prediction thing for the N64 Classic, but let me know in the comments down below, what games would you like to see come to the N64 Classic? I know a lot of mine were basically Nintendo exclusives, if not all of them, but at the same time it makes a lot of sense in my head. But maybe there's a third-party game out there that you would love to see, because there are a lot of excellent third-party games for the N64. Alright, that's it for me, guys. I am Bradley Overrated. Be sure to like and subscribe and push the bell and sell your soul to the devil and do whatever else you need to do to appease the YouTube gods so you can get my content. And I'll see you guys on the next episode. Have a good one.